I'm in Shenandoah National Park, up in the Northern District, and this is the trailhead for the Thornton River Trail. There's the concrete marker right over there. There's my little red car. And this is mile marker 25. Skyline Drive's out there. And I'm going to get on the Thornton River Trail here and hike down maybe about 3 miles or so down to the Thornton River, where there's some nice camping areas down there, and just enjoy the hike. Not expecting to find a whole lot of earth-shattering stuff along the trail here. The elevation here is 2350. Just took a picture there of the fishing regulations. It's worth pointing out, in this river here, Thornton River, it says no fish of any size may be kept. A lot of the other streams, if they're over 9 inches, you can keep them, but not here. Tenth of a mile into my hike, just getting started here. The elevation here is 2,300 feet, and well, here you go right here, headwaters of the Thornton River. And heading on down the side of the mountain. And we're headed this way. So here's a Leave No Trace outdoor ethics placard that somebody just threw on the side of the trail. It never ceases to amaze me what people do. They either threw it or it fell off. I'm thinking they threw it down. They read it and went, nah. So I'm descending along this Thornton River Trail. This used to be an old road. Let's see, in about 3/10 of a mile, I'm expecting to come across the remains of an old car, if it's still down here. I've hiked this before, but it was probably about 10 years ago. So we'll see if it's still there. Probably is. Big pile of rust. Well, that's going to take some effort to clear that big tree off the trail. It looks like maybe they cut off a couple of limbs there, so maybe they're done with it. Maybe it's just going to be a permanent fixture. You just walk under it. .1 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,820 feet. Here's where I came from, still descending fairly steeply. And, well, there it is, what's left of an old car or truck. Might be a truck, maybe somebody can tell from this. I'll take some still photos. But they kind of pushed it off into a little ravine just off the trail here. Looks like it's been stripped of everything, including the motor and the drivetrain and wheels. Everything's gone except for the basic body. So even the doors are gone. Looks like there's the box where the battery was. You can see the stranded copper cable. It's turned it's got a kind of a verdigris patina to it now after all these years. .4 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1750 elevation. Starting to see more and more water now. This is the way I'm headed. There's sections of the trail back there where I just came from that are kind of wet and muddy, but you can navigate them if you have waterproof boots on. But couple of little feeders here, this one, and then there's one right over there. But they got the rocks piled up here to get across without any problem, so let's keep descending. .5 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,720 feet, and looks like from here down it's going to be one continuous flowing river that's formed. Bugs on my lens. It's a lot of bugs out here. There it is looking upstream. I have sprayed a high percentage of DEET all over me to keep the bugs off of me, but the camera, they're jumping on the camera. Anyway, there's the North Fork of the Thornton River right there. Starting to notice a lot of stacked up stone. This is along the bank of the river. So it's stacked up maybe, well, like right there it's probably stacked up about 4 feet high. Oh, and it actually looks like a trail heading down that way, an old trail. Here's the current trail. That looks like another trail. Wonder where that goes. Anyway, that's a lot of stacked up stone just to get it off the road. I got a feeling they're in, oh, and it's over here on this side too. So, whoops. It's on this side too, although not stacked up as high. So I don't know if they did that to divert water or whether might be somebody's property line here. I'll record this position and check the maps when I get home. .6 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,700 feet. Okay, my curiosity got the best of me. Up there's the trail, Thornton River Trail, but I saw this little side driveway or whatever it is veering off to the right. So I followed this down maybe 100 yards, and here's where it crosses the river right here. And then look over there. It just keeps going straight. Well, I'll have to come back sometime and explore this and see where the heck does this go. The way the trees are cleared out, it looks like, I mean, it could have been somebody's driveway, or maybe it was an old abandoned road that people still like to hike. I don't know, I'll have to research this a little bit. Okay, so I went back up to the main trail and followed the main trail, and a couple of 100 yards down, it just made a turn and came right back down here. I'm right back to the same crossing. Excuse me. So this is actually the Thornton River Trail here. So mystery solved. Okay, I just crossed over the river. You see that up there? See how level that is? So that was some kind of an old road up there. I'm going to mark that too. To come back here in the wintertime and do a little more exploring. Here's the trail. And the trail veers off the road and goes across the river right here. But the old road continues that way. I'll have to see if I can figure that out. .8 miles into my hike. I'm down to 1,670 feet, and I just looked over here just off the trail. Somebody cleared out a little campsite right here, big enough for a tent, and you can see where people have been going down here to the river. Got some nice rocks down there you can sit on, enjoy the river, get your water out of there. Be sure and boil it before you drink it, and have a nice little camp right here. It is right next to the trail though, but I'll mark it. I'll try and remember to mark this on my map. .4 miles into my hike. I'm down to 1,460 feet. And oh dear, look at this. You know, water's coming down the side of the mountain. And instead of going over there to the river, it made a right-hand turn and it's following the trail. The trail's turned into a river. So, I don't know. It looks like I might be able to tippy-toe over here on one side or the other and not have to do the crocs. .6 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,430 feet. Yeah, this getting across here is going to be a problem. And my balance isn't all that great to be trying to do a tree like that. I may look down this downstream a little ways and see if I see any. There might be enough rocks piled up down there that I can get across. Otherwise, I'm going to have to wade across. I think it's just this one crossing, though. So if it's just this one, I may do it barefoot. Well, I decided I'm going to try and tippy-toe across here. It's kind of dicey. That's looking upstream. I'm in the middle of the river now. I got And got those little rocks there to try and tippy-toe on. Some of those look a little dicey. And then there's looking downstream. But I'm halfway across, haven't fallen in yet. .9 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,370 feet. That's where I came from. That's a real wet, muddy trail up there, and I had to cross over here, which was a little bit tricky, but I got across okay. And now I think I'm on the right side of where the campsites are, about another 1/10 of a mile. So I think I'm done crossing going down. I got to do all those crossings going back though. Three miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,350 feet. And it's a good thing I saved these camping spots like 10 years ago when I hiked, because according to my GPS, right back in here is one of them. And this doesn't look anything like it used to. All this underbrush, 10 years ago, this underbrush was all cleared out. So I'm going to walk back in here and see if I recognize anything. And then there was another, see, that's my GPS beeping, telling me I'm here. There was another spot right down there. I'll check that out too. But I mean, wow. This doesn't look anything like it did 10 years ago. Well, okay, so I pushed back through the brush. You used to be able to see this from the trail, but the trail's down there. That tree that's leaning over to the side is just beyond that's where the trail is. But if you push back in here, here it is, still nice and cleared out. See this? Nice area. There's a little area right there that's cleared out too, small area. But this is, I mean, you could have a great big soiree, meeting of the minds, big powwow down here. Well, that tree is dead, and look what the woodpeckers have done to it. Looks like it's taking machine gun fire up and down the trunk there. Look at that. Alright, let me see if I can find a spot. I might throw up my day hammock and take my boots off and rest for a few minutes, because it's about a 1,000-foot climb back up to my car. Yeah, no fires allowed in the park. So what's that? What's that fire ring and that burnt wood doing there? That's not even in the fire ring. Oh dear. Okay, I threw up my day hammock. I'm gonna lay in it for a while and rest and have a little bit of food, some energy bars, and drink some water. And then I'll pack up and start heading back up. Here's my trekking poles. I got to make sure I don't step on them. I got my pack is hanging from some parachute cord, and there's my spot. Gen 4 sending a message to a friend of mine. Hopefully she'll get it. You never know for sure if those messages go out or not. And then this is a ENO single nest hammock. I have the single, this one, and the double nest, which is bigger, but for day hikes I like this one better, the single. And I use this 2,500 pound mule tape to attach it to a tree like that. I put a loop in one end, and then you run it through the loop. And then this is it may not look like it, but that's a sheet bend. And the tag end, instead of pulling it all the way through, I just loop it like that so I can pull on it and untie it real easy. That tree's a lot bigger over there. And when you're done with these hammocks, the whole thing fits into this little pouch. So it fits into its own little pouch. It rolls up into like a little ball. So I'll turn off the camera for a while. I'm gonna sit there, drink water, and eat some food and relax. Well, I'm all packed up. That's where my hammock was. Here's the rest of the campsite. Real nice. You can hear the river from here. So, real nice spot. But it's time for me to start heading back. I got a long hike back, and it's about 1,000-foot climb up to my car, and I have to cross the river about 3 or 4 times. So, here we go. Before I left the campsites, I went over here. Here's the second campsite. I'll show it on the map, on my map. This one's not as nice as the first one. It's not as big. You got that stump there in the way, but you know, you could make this work, especially with hammocks like over there where those trees are. Go back in here and clear this out just a little bit. The problem, I don't like this site though, because that's the trail right there where those rocks are. That's the trail, so you're really close to the trail. People are going to see you camped here, which is, you know, it's okay to camp here, but it's better to be like stealthy about it. Just a little hint as far as finding that nice camp spot. The river's right over there. As soon as you cross the river and come down the trail, start looking to the right for this tree that's blown over at a 45-degree angle, and that's where you go back in there to find the camp spot, right back in there. So look for that tree right there, that blown down tree. .4 miles into my hike, I'm heading back up the mountain. Just crossed the river, not too far back, and I'm at 1,400 feet. And I just marked this location. It's a rock wall, and it goes that way. So this is like the corner of it. There's one side of it, and this is the corner, and then it's heading up the mountain that way. So I'll mark the location, see if it corresponds to anybody's property boundary. And then the trail is just right here. So that's where it came from. And here's where I'm headed. I got to cross the river, I don't know, maybe 3 more times. 4.9 miles into my hike. I'm back up to about 1,810 feet, and back up to the old truck. Here's where I came from, up from the river. I'm above it all now, I think. And from here up to my car is the steep part of the hike. I'm at about 1,800. I got to get up to 2,300. So 500 more feet in about 6/10 of a mile or so. .3 miles into my hike and out of breath, climbing the mountain. Climbing through 2,000 feet now. I'm up to 2,020. And I'm back to the overpass, nature's overpass here, which I'm going to walk under. And let me see here, got another 4/10 of a mile back up to my car. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Thornton Gap 1994, and the purpose of the hike was to hike down a good portion of the Thornton River Trail and back. This red line here is Skyline Drive, right there. And you park, there's a trailhead parking lot right here where it says gate. This is about mile marker 25. So I got on this trail, and this section is fairly steep descent. When I got down to here, right there, where it says car, I found that old rusted out car, might be a truck. Once you get past that, you start getting down into the wet areas where the headwaters of the Thornton River are. This is the North Fork of the Thornton River. Followed this down. When I got to here, I was looking for any evidence of this old fire road, but it's really overgrown now in the middle of the summer, so I couldn't see anything there. Continued on down. You've got 3 or 4 crossings of the Thornton along here until finally I got down to here, which is where the campsites were. Now, I knew about these campsites from hiking down through here maybe 10 years ago, and I got the GPS coordinates, so I knew where they were. But when I got down here from the trail, you couldn't even see the campsites anymore. I didn't really recognize this area because all this undergrowth has come up over the last 10 years. But if you push back in there, you'll find them. And then just pointing out, right here is the Hull School Trail. And it's another way of getting down to the river, starting up here. But anyway, I stopped here. And then, you know, put up my hammock, enjoyed the day a little bit, then turn around and back up to my car. Let's see, one other note. This land here is track number 111, owned by Grove and Spittler. It's several hundred acres. I was looking at the Shenandoah land records of this tract, and there was a survey done of this tract because there was some question about the boundaries that overlapped with other neighboring parcels. So anyway, when you look at the survey, it shows a road coming down through here like this. Okay, so I'm going to go back in the wintertime I'll probably start up here and see if I can find this turnoff to the left, and then just navigate down the side of the mountain down to the river this way and back. Or maybe when I get to here, I'll go up like this and loop back along Skyline Drive, something like that. So that'd be a future hike, but that's definitely a bushwhack. This hike ended up being 6.1 miles with an ascent of 1,083 feet. And that was the hike for today.